Call to order the Bucksport Town Council meeting for Thursday, August 24th. Meeting's in person. If you have questions or comments, you can email slassard@bucksportmaine.gov or call 469-7368. Roll call, Jake.
Councillor Eastman.
Here.
Councillor Morrison is absent. Deputy Mayor Bissonnette.
Here.
Mayor Stewart.
Here.
Councillor Ormsby.
Here.
Councillor Bishop.
Here.
Councillor Rankin.
Here.
Could I ask for an excuse for Councillor Morrison?
Yes.
Has had some health issues.
Yep. We can
If we could-
note. We can note that we'll make an exception for our rules that we have. Everybody's okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't need a motion or anything on that, do we?
Do we need a motion on that?
Technically, you should. I think there's been.
Motion to excuse Councilor Morrison's absence. Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you. Presentation of town council recognitions. We have none. Minutes of previous meetings from council minutes of 8/3/2023. How the council like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Passes. Receive and review correspondence. Apparently we were Verona Police for the last month.
Right.
But that is a lot of good work over there for the guys and gals going over there. So we had 4 calls on Verona, and then we also had a press release for an insurance rebate, which is always nice to see, almost $10,000 worth. So.
That's the highest one we've ever received.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. Any questions on any of that? All right. Ordinances. We have several first readings. First is a solar contract zone, portion of map 002. Lot 011. Any questions on that?
I've given you an updated draft of that. When I drafted that, I modeled it after the Central Street one, and there were some references in that I didn't catch the first time. The draft you have in front of you that will also be out there for the second reading and the public hearing just cleans up the deed references and that language, but that's what you have. There, this limits that contract zone to only the 20 acres identified for the 1.99 megawatt. Said that can't be visible from Route 1 or Route 46. It limits it to that, and if it isn't used for that, then it reverts to its prior zoning designations, and it doesn't allow for any additional development in that 20 acres for this purpose other than that 1.99 megawatt facility, which is what you had discussed with them when you initially indicated you do.
Next is a first reading of the commercial solar moratorium ordinance. Is that modeled off anybody's?
That's modeled after the last 2 we did,
Okay.
one for the marijuana and one for the landfill. And it's 180 days. I know that our code officer had talked about workload and whether or not that would be possible. If it isn't done in 180 days, you can
One
extend
extension,
that.
right?
You can
Yep.
do an extension.
Next, we have first reading of the PPI program, Bucksport Safety, Accessibility, and Economic Study. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look through that report. Pretty intense.
Took me a week.
Extensive, I know, right?
There is a second reading and a public hearing that would be associated with this at the September 7th meeting. as well.
And next is a charter change for council wages that we talked about during the budget process. All of these are first readings, and I assume that most of them or all of them will be set up for second readings and public hearing.
They are. The
Does
charter
the charter change have to go through a vote?
It has to go to referendum. All of these, the PPI program
Oh, that's
and the
next.
charter change would
Both have
need
to
to
go.
go to
Right.
referendum for
Right.
public vote. But the charter change, the way that I worded it, in order to avoid the need for a full charter change, which is a referendum vote every time you adjust wages for council, it says that you'll determine wages annually during your budget process for the next year. but it also, in this year, sets them at what you discussed,
Yeah.
what you budgeted, which was the $50 for regular members and 60.
So by having that language in the charter, you don't have to go through a charter
That's
change
right,
referendum
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
That's the way
questions?
it's written.
Yep. All right, next is discussion items, regulatory review committee update from 8/24/23. Is that right?
Yep, we discussed the potential use of the Wexford Motor Inn with a section of the paper street that we have, and we've asked for more information from the applicant.
Did you guys start that at 6?
6:30.
I was thinking it was still 6 o'clock, like, I have a long meeting going there. Next is Bucksport Bay Business Coalition request for different area of waterfront for vendor events.
I believe Ms. Doty is here too.
Yep.
So that side didn't work.
Could you just give us your name too? 'cause
Terry
people always-
Doty.
Thanks.
There's signs along the walkway over there, and now that the swings are there, so we can't put vendors over there. So the last time I had to put them all in the parking lot. But it's getting bigger, and I'm not gonna be able to do that, for very much longer. So I really need the other way, because it's longer and gives me more room.
Okay, you heard our discussion that we had about liability and private ownership of,
Yes, and I did reach out to one of the couples who I guess had a complaint, and she was going to talk to her husband, haven't heard. And I have no problem like bypassing that property and put like caution tape or whatever so nobody goes on it, and then just continue on for the people who don't care.
well, it's not that they don't care.
Well, there's been vendors along that walkway for 20 plus years, I guess.
And we looked at it, I think we've been lucky.
Yeah,
Or-
so
Or other
it
folks
w-
have been lucky.
It would be really bad if I had to cancel the vendor bender, especially since it's already taken off, even after the first one.
So why can't you go that way? Because it looks like it's almost the same length. And I'm asking.
There's the railroad tracks, there's the story signs, there's the swing sets, and it just kind of it's just too hard. And also there's a slope, so for people who want to put their tables on a slope, they can't do it. So, and there's bushes too along that way, so it's hard.
How many vendors do you have coming?
Oh, this next time? Well, it depends, like, Monday, I have, I think, 12 signed up so far. The September 11th, I've got 6 food trucks. That's just food trucks. And they keep going on and on, so it's just, everybody likes the idea and wants for it to continue, and it would just be a bummer if I had to, like, call it quits.
Terry, how far down that other way do you feel you would be, beyond
It's,
Camden?
Eventually, I think so, because I keep getting more and more, and after the first one, we had such a good response that people were messaging me saying that they want to sign up for the remainder of the year, and I want to continue it the next year, which I hope will go down.
But, could you get by because we do own in front of the Historical Society and in front of Camden, right, Rich? So we could get as far as the marina, would that be enough for,
Plus going in the other direction also.
Right.
or the parking lot?
That would make sense.
I
That's
still don't
fine.
know about the other way, because it starts sloping right when there's the gazebo, and there's the grass, and it kind of slopes down, and then there's a bush, and then there's signs, railroad tracks, so it's kind of hard. You'd have to space all these vendors out quite a bit. So I'd like to get as many food trucks. We had 3 people come down and say, where's there a place to eat on a Monday evening? So if I got like a food truck and created a food court, people have an option to go. And then all the vendors along the way are plus. But it would just be too hard to like space them out way too far from each other.
I think what's actually ours to give would be only up until the marina.
So the
Right.
entrance to the marina,
Right.
for now, could you fit into that?
I could
We could
probably.
address it next year.
Yes, up until October 11th, if I had to have a cutoff for vendors, then I'll have to do it. But I want to make this thing turn into like a big street fair type thing or farmer's market that people can actually take advantage of, since they can't do it from, 12 to 3 while people are at work.
Sure, yeah. But do you feel like if we said to that
If it to the
point,
marina,
but if it's
yes.
for this,
Yes,
the remainder of this year,
yes.
I'm okay with that, we own.
It, it can't be in the marina parking lot.
Correct.
It can be
Up to.
up to the marina parking lot.
And there's the rocks there, there's the rocks, there's the strip of grass, and then there's the walkway, so that's, like, it's obvious where the marina starts, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
So as long as it's between the rocks and the walkway, that would give you plenty of room, and it wouldn't infringe on the marina at all.
And on the other side, we have all the space between Camden,
Right,
behind Camden to the Historical Society.
right.
Wasn't
But
there some discussion too about using the parking lot behind the post office? Did we talk about that last time?
Come up with
It's,
something, right?
yeah, but it would be too small.
Well, I mean, like, if you're getting big enough, being able to, like, have that as well, and then using your strip out front, so they're traveling between the two spots. I'm just trying to find
Yeah, I know
a
what
way
you're-
to get
Right.
you to be able to say, you know, you have 25 people signed up. Yes, we have enough space that we can put you here.
But I know that they would want to be on the walkway and not stuck in, you know,
Yeah.
post office parking lot or whatever.
Well, I think we're gonna cross a new line pretty soon with agreements and property scenarios, something that we have to work on to figure out, but to solve your problem immediately, I think that's probably the most we can have the power to give you.
We
Right.
had this discussion a couple of years ago, for anyone who was on the council then, we talked about putting food trucks on the walkway,
Mm.
and it didn't go well. That there was a large number of people who objected to the idea of the town allowing food trucks to be on the walkway. We talked about using the veterans parking lot for some. There were a lot of people who came in who were concerned that we were commercializing the walkway, whose original purpose, somebody has to remember this besides me,
I remember
because
the conversation.
we were here with people who were, and the fact that we have had Go Sport or Bay Festival or 3 or 4 events in a year is different than an event every single Monday night for 10 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever. And I'm not saying it's bad, but it's different in terms of the use of that walkway and how much of it is an event as opposed to passive recreation. And so while I think getting through this season and figuring out how to best utilize it is great, I think the council at some point needs to talk about how commercialized do you wish the walkway to become? Because if you do, you're gonna have to renegotiate your agreements with property owners.
Yep.
Number one, and number
So-
two, you're gonna have people who object because they're walking their dogs, and they're not. I'm not making up the fact that people were unhappy when we talked about having food trucks, even in the town dock parking lot, or that parking lot down there seasonally. We said we could just do a couple as a trial to see. Businesses on Main Street were unhappy as well.
So, I mean, I guess I'm trying to understand, people want things brought to the town. Bucksport needs a spotlight on the town. So either you want something to come to the town, or you don't. I mean, this is just one of the things, the walkway is one of the Bucksport's claim to fame. So if that goes away, what really do you have?
Well, what we're saying is we're gonna find that happy medium where it is, that it's a combination use. It can't, people don't want it to be one or the other.
Well, we
And
could
they don't
use,
want it to turn over.
right, we could use the rest of the season as a good gauge for that, for next year.
And this is every other week.
Right, it's the second and fourth Monday evenings, for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be okay with up to the marina, you know, where we talked about the Camden spot and back to the parking lot. We'll do that for now.
And you have what, 3 more events this year?
Let's see, 28th, 4.
4 more events this
Yeah.
year? Yeah.
And
It's a
all
decent
sample size too,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Right.
it's
Right.
not like there's only been 2 events here and people are being asked to decide the good and bad about that. That 5 is a much better sample size for that. So I agree with
If
you.
we
I
can
think,
get
yeah.
through this process of
Yeah.
discussing it prior to next year when it comes up, then at least we have a process,
Right.
a little more of a thoughtful process.
Absolutely.
It at least provides answers to those
Right.
who have concerns.
Yes.
And allows
That we've
them
had
to-
X amount of events and Y amount of attendees, and Z amount of support of business, and, you know, it's easier to do stuff with data than without it.
Yeah.
And this provides a great sample to see how well received it is.
Well-
And Mondays are a problem here. and there's no
Exactly.
place to
Yeah.
see it.
Well, and also a lot of the businesses, they close at 5 or something, so this is even after, so I wouldn't be competing with any of the businesses on Main Street.
And that may have been part of the issue of, with food trucks that had locations here
Mm-hmm,
seasonally.
right.
Because that was the,
That was gonna be an all or nothing, I mean, they're gonna be here for the setting.
it was a seasonal thing that,
So are you okay with going to the marina and then going the other direction as far as you want to?
I mean, if you don't need the other side, you can use the parking lot and up
Right.
to the marina.
Right, I think I could probably get away with that. I just don't think the other side's gonna work. There's too much stuff there and the sloping, so, you know.
Right.
But, yeah, that would work.
Okay,
Sweet.
thank you.
Thanks.
Terry, one quick question. How many did you get on your last one? How many people you think came through?
I don't know. There was a pretty good sized crowd.
Yeah.
I was down there, it was a pretty good turnout, actually. Yeah, I was surprised, because I was wondering, I'm like,
Monday night.
right, I was
Yeah.
like, how's this gonna go? And I wound up down there for an hour and a half eating and talking to everybody,
Yep.
so, yeah, it actually popped off pretty good.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You don't need to do another permit on that, right? All right, next is agenda items. First is resolve 2024-04 to set the mill rate for the 2023-2024 tax year. Resolve is to set the mill rate for the 2023-24 tax year at $13.95 per thousand. Budget adopted requires an amount of $8,138,566 to be raised for education, municipal, county, and TIF appropriations. And whereas based on the current municipal taxable valuation of $603,953,130 is necessary to support the budget. Whereas this mill rate reduction results from the change in construction cost schedules necessary to bring property values in line with property sales. And whereas the cost schedule changes were necessary in order to be in compliance with state valuation standards and allow for full value for homestead exemptions, veterans exemptions, and receipt of full value of state revenue sharing. And whereas the reduction in mill rate does not equate to a reduction in property tax bills due to the increases in local, county, and school budgets. Only those enrolled in the state senior property tax stabilization program will see bills that were the same as last year, and be resolved by the Bucksport Town Council and Town Council assembled to approve the mill rate for 2023-2024 real estate and personal property taxes at $13.95 per thousand. How would council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second. Comments?
I think, we've talked about this the entire time, that taxes would be going up, but it's more complicated than a straight normal, because our valuations are now normalized to what a more accurate assessment of what these properties are selling for, because we were at 66%, which is well below the okay line. The other thing that will complicate this is for the 260 or so senior citizens who applied to participate in the tax stabilization program. For this year, their tax bills will be identical to their tax bills from last year. However, that program was done away with by the legislature this year. So this will be a 1 year in which that as of the 24-25 tax year, the tax bills received by all of those people will be at the actual valuation that's on their property, which will be an increase. And there is another program that the legislature has approved, which is more targeted towards income, which the first program was not, and it will be accessed through income tax filing. So it will not have anything to do with the town.
Well, that's
Oh,
not true.
go ahead.
There are it's an expansion of two programs. So one is through your income tax filing, and then the other one is going to be a tax deferment program, which defers the taxes on the property as long as that individual owns it. So if they pass away or they sell it, that tax is then still owed to the town.
Oh, they have to
Yeah.
recapture it?
Yeah, there's a recapture with interest.
Ooh.
Yes.
It basically creates a lien on the property for the cost of the taxes, but that's at the state level.
Yeah, but they apply at the town level first.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions?
Caitlin, when are we gonna see new values?
I have them. Anybody can see them if they want to, but I plan to commit taxes tonight, depending on when we leave, or tomorrow morning, and then they'll go to the printer and they'll be sent out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next is resolved 2024-13 to approve bids for the Franklin Street retaining wall. Have the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second?
Any questions?
This was the best bid we possibly could have gotten. And I say that because this is the year we're paying for all of it out of our pocket. And in essence, we're paying the same amount of this as if we had gotten a 50% grant based on the remaining bids. And the entity that's getting is the one who's actually done the physical work to build these walls for us for the past several years. So Rich provided these numbers, and I was doing a happy dance when I saw them, for sure, because it makes this a much more affordable project, because our MPO eligibility is tied up in our Central Street project that's also happening this year.
So the remainder of this money will go to that, in theory?
No, we'll only spend this much out of,
As opposed to twice that.
Yeah.
Which is what we have for all,
the MPO one is already, that set aside is already there for the 50% of that project. And this is a really visible wall. This is, we have some that are, like the one down by the light, we get comments on all the time. This is another, that Franklin Street intersection is.
It might actually be the worst wall. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
it lately.
it's the
but
worst.
It goes
Yeah.
forward to the street, and then in the corner intersection of Franklin and Central, the bottom corner has disintegrated.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the whole wall hasn't come crashing down yet.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Quick question on the next resolve. On the resolve itself, it's 2024-15. Just want to make sure that we're approving, and then the active date shows the 21st.
I'm sorry, it should be 24.
Yeah. And is it 15 or is it 14, like it says on the...
It's 15.
It is 15, okay. Thanks. Resolve 2024-15 to approve the Route 46 plow contract with Lanford Excavating for a 3-year period. How the council like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second?
Any questions? Only one bid we received.
That's all we received.
That's something to think about with our bid process moving forward with some of the things. We've been having that debate about put it out to bid, not put it out to bid. And this really spurs the thought process of if someone's being loyal to us, maybe we should reward that with a renewal.
And this, we renewed it twice already. I think thought is also just as a check too at times.
There's a lot of, if anybody's willing to do anything and do a good job at it right now, that's,
Yep.
that's pretty
That's
rare.
That's the issue
You
right
know.
there, yep.
So, them being the only bidder.
I
I
was
hear your
pleased that-
point, but
Well, I would
that's-
assume that, the council in 3 years may just say, like we did the last time, just extend these folks and everybody's happy with the services too,
yeah.
and then look at it.
They kept their ask very reasonable. It was 3% increase and the 5% that we had budgeted anyway, estimating it that
Right.
way, so worked out.
All those in favor? Opposed? Passes. Item 9 is resignations, appointments, assignments, elections. We have none.
We do have
Oh,
one.
we do. Did
A
I
town
miss them?
clerk, well, no, I have the letter
Oh.
that I got today that wasn't in the packet.
Oh,
But
I don't wanna hear it.
I don't wanna say it, but, it's not my manager's report, but our town clerk, Jacob Graham, has obtained a position as the town manager in another community, which has been his goal for, I've known since I hired him. That was his career goal, and I'm exceedingly proud of the work that he's done in order to be not only ready to do that, but hired out of, I think, of a field of 35, which really is, we're very proud of you, and I'm mad at the same time. That it counts for anything, but you do need to accept his resignation.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Any questions, comments? When you starting, Jacob? Do you know?
25th of September.
25th of September.
If we don't accept,
He will still go.
You can keep me on the payroll.
He's going.
He has indicated, because we have an election coming up and will be in transition, that he would assist us during the election, with making sure that goes right.
Well, I think you realize we all wish you very well, and Pittsfield is absolutely getting a great person to run that town down here, so. We still don't like MCI High School, but that's okay.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor? Thank you. Item 10 is approval of quick claims, discharges, and deeds. We have one Pamela S. Cody, map 20K, lot 16, tax lien discharge on 6/19/12, 6/19/2023, 6/17/2014, 6/16/2015, 6/22/2016, 6/21/2017, 6/20/2018, 6/19/2019, 6/30/2020, and 6/15/2021. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
second.
All those in favor? Passes. Next is Brian Manning, map 022, lot 022, tax lien discharge for 6/15/2021. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Approved. Item 11 is the town manager report.
The road for the Bucks Mills Culvert Project, the road should reopen for travel no later than Monday, August 28th. Mr. Wardwell contacted me today and told me that it would be open and buses could run, etc. The guardrails will not be entirely installed by then, but we'll have jersey barriers up until those are finished, which will be at the beginning of the week. The Department of Labor inspection for our SHAPE program is Monday and Tuesday of next week. Departments have been working hard to make sure that we are ready for this comprehensive inspection. Maintaining this SHAPE designation across our department saves the town significant cost for workers' compensation insurance. Thus far, we have 5 candidates for town council and 2 for school board that have taken out papers. 2 council candidates have returned papers, as have both of the school board candidates. The deadline for submitting nomination papers for either council or school board is September 7th. Our Community and Economic Development Director, Rich Rotella, will be attending the MMA convocation in Castine at MMA on Monday afternoon to represent the town of Bucksport. I'm sorry to miss it this year. It's always a great event. Today is the 8th anniversary of my first day working in the town of Bucksport. That has to be the longest interim gig in history. Seriously, I'm thankful every day that I get to be the town manager of this great community. As part of their assessment statewide of PFAS contamination, the DEP is doing testing on all sites on which sludge was permitted to be spread. And this includes the former sludge spreading site for the town of Bucksport, which is on Upper Long Pond Road, adjacent to the sludge storage building. The town has not done sludge spreading since 2006 and 2007. The DEP will be providing test results to the town after the testing has been done. We received the letter regarding this issue dated August 15th, and I had had a conversation with Roger Johnstone of the department on August 14th. He indicated that testing would be happening within a few weeks of that call, and I will keep you posted. And finally, I want to thank our assessor, Caitlin Eldridge, for all her work this year. This has been a very difficult commitment with the cost schedule changes, that senior tax stabilization program, and the difficulties encountered with our software vendor in accommodating the changes for the stabilization program and how that let our assessor interact with it has been significant, but she's maintained her sense of humor and not thrown it all in the air and walked out the door, which we're very grateful for. But I just want to note that all the extra work that it took to get this done, everybody's not going to be happy. But we've known that since the beginning of this budget year. But she's done a really good job of getting all these pieces put together. So I just wanted to note that. She said, we don't see a lot of our people in front of us all the time, and it's important to note that when someone's been crawling through broken glass to get something done, we need to acknowledge that there was extra effort involved in it this year, for sure.
And you're not going to Pittsfield?
Not yet.
I don't know.
Well, let's go. We'll tell you.
You have any other questions, Councilor
Yeah.
Peter, did we forget Ghostport? Wasn't there?
That's coming up.
Okay.
Yep. So we got approval of licenses and permits. We have two. First is liquor license renewal for Verona Wine and Design LLC. How the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And next, don't even take up an item not on the agenda, Jake.
Yep.
Take a motion for that, please.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Pass. We have another permit for license for Ghostport, October 21st, 2023. Not to interfere with the marina or any potential ships. Everybody has signed off. It's taking place on the waterfront. We're gonna have 8 to 4 time event. Did you all get the copy of this too?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not gonna read down through it then. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to see it. But it does look like they're sort of using the same area that we just approved for the other thing there too, so. Any questions? How the council like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Passes. Item 13 is discussion items not on the agenda for the council and the public. Anybody in the public have anything not on the agenda? Anybody from the council? I just want to note, if you haven't been out Route 46, the property that we had cleaned up out there looks really good. They cleaned it up, and you wouldn't know what was there 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, it looks
That fast?
that fast.
Nice.
Yeah, that fast.
I also want to note that the end of Gully's Road, closest to Jacob Buck Pond, has had some seasonal maintenance on that this year. When that whole issue was raised, it was discovered that the town had maintenance responsibilities seasonally on a portion from Jacob Buck Pond up to map 19 lot 3, which was at the time the town approved it in 1981, land owned by a Public Works employee. That's the way it was voted, and apparently that Public Works employee did some of the maintenance with town equipment at that time, but that was decades ago, but it's still a responsibility in that. And we were requested by a property owner on Thurston Pond to do that seasonal maintenance, to assist in their getting into. So we're only going as far as map 19 lot 3. It's seasonal maintenance, but like anything else, we're not going to do it poorly. We're going to do it so that it doesn't have to be done extensively moving forward. So if you get people saying, why the heck are the that's why. do up there. It's because it's part of that ball of string that we have been unwinding now for months in terms of that road.
I actually had somebody ask me that. So
I
thank you
thought
for that.
probably somebody would ask because I had
Well,
Thank you for that.
phone calls asking if we were lost.
All right, next item is 14, upcoming public hearings. We have 4 public hearings at our next meeting, check. Yeah, at our next meeting on September 7th.
September 7th, and there's one more that I didn't put on there, but it's consideration of the animal shelter proposal. That doesn't require the whole person, but it would have to go on to referendum, and you are gonna need to talk
Make a
about
decision
that.
on that, yeah.
So that would be also a public hearing at that date.
Okay.
Is the information for that in terms of,
There is information for that in, yes.
okay. How soon would you be comfortable sending that out?
Well, I
picking up
can
the
get it
22.
out to you
Okay.
as immediately, because the public hearing is gonna have to
Yep.
include that, and that's gonna have to be advertised this coming week, but it's, the numbers are
Scary.
scary. That's a good word, scary,
Okay.
to do what kind of relocation that we talked about. Because the cost of commercial construction right now from all the entities is between $500 and $600 a square foot.
And just as a reminder, we'll meet on the 7th, and then we won't meet again until the 28th, get us back on our regular second and fourth Thursday. So I've gone off kilter a little bit here just to catch up with things, but so we'll go to the 7th, and then we won't meet again until the 28th. Any finance committee meeting?
Do we need regulatory review too?
Do we need a finance?
Yes, we do. It's to someone who has an existing microloan has a mortgage attached to it. Said time period is ending, and she's requesting the council to review, possibly refinance.
Okay.
So she'd like to do that at the September 7th meeting. And while I'm up here, the parties who will be receiving the award, that will be September 28th.
September 28th?
Correct.
Okay.
And do we need regulatory?
I'm glad you
review
told me.
Yes.
For the motor inn? We need, we'll see where he's at and what he wants to do.
We got a lot going on the 7th. If we can give him time to get something together, maybe on the 28th. would be-
That's fine.
28th. I'll reach out to
See
Doc.
if you can do, like, we did it 6 on the 28th. That would
Correct.
provide,
In the finance committee, that's me, Paul, and you.
are you around on the 28th?
I'll be on the 28th.
That's when
Yeah.
the finance committee meeting is.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, not finance.
Regulatory
Regulatory
review,
The microloan one is gonna be on the 7th.
please.
Yeah, and 7th, I won't be here.
Okay.
I'll be at the school then.
We can still have the committee hearing anyway, because you'll be
Yes.
here and you'll be here anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have an economic development committee meeting the 11th.
Okay. You will be here on the 28th.
Yes.
Okay.
Regulatory review will be at 6 on the 28th.
28th.
And finance will be at 6:30, or
On the
maybe
7th.
6. 6:30, okay,
On the 7th.
on the 7th. Hope
Anything
you're
else?
taking good notes, Jacob.
All right, nothing else? Take a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn?
All those in favor? Thank you.